like to start the Falmouth School Committee meeting. We're going to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and there's a flag over here, so we're going to face. Oh, we've got a flag! Excellent, thank you, Ryan. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I just want to remind everyone that this meeting is being telecast and recorded on Channel 14. I also remind any member of the public who wishes to make an audio or video recording of the open session of this meeting to first notify me as the acting chair right now, and I will then inform the public of the recording as required by the open meeting law. All right. So we are going to welcome our new school committee members. So from down there we have Megan Cummins-Fleck and Andrea Thorold. And welcome back, Terry.
Thank you.
Yay. And now I'll open for public comment. Oh, come on up. So please, just 1 second. Just please limit comments to 2 minutes per individual. There will be no debate or action taken on public comment items. The committee will take items under advisement, or the individual may request an item to be placed on the future agenda.
Thank you. Should I just sit here? Or
Yeah.
okay.
You want it? Yeah. That looks perfect.
And I have a loud voice. So my name is Becky McCullough, and I have a couple of comments to make tonight. First, as my 2 kids prepare to leave Falmouth Public Schools, I want to thank those who've worked to give them the opportunities they've had in their choices of classes, sports, after-school clubs, art, music, and even for the opportunity to be part of an exchange program to France. And thank you, Madame, for so much work. Thank you to the school committee, to administration and teachers, support staff, and to the members of the community who believe that education is worth investing in. I know teachers and students in other districts in Massachusetts who don't have the opportunities that we have here in Falmouth, and I don't think it's because their communities don't believe education is worth investing in. I understand this committee has signed a resolution calling on the governor and legislature to follow the recommendations of the Foundation Budget Review Commission, and thank you. And I urge members of the community to become informed on this issue and to be in touch with elected officials. The Foundation Budget Review Commission found that the state is underfunding districts by at least $1 billion per year, and that's money our schools could use. And the other issue I'd like to comment on is personalized learning. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education has partnered with LearnLaunch to catalyze personalized learning. A couple weeks ago, there was a voluntary survey for administrators to fill out, and now I see there's to be a summit in Boston in August for principals to get support and professional learning opportunities they need to lead student-centered digital learning initiatives in their schools. This is sponsored in part by MAPLE, and I read here from the LearnLaunch site. MAPLE is Massachusetts Personalized Learning EdTech Consortium. It's a public-private partnership between the LearnLaunch Institute and the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to catalyze personalized learning in the Commonwealth with the purpose of better preparing students for their future. Personalized learning seeks to accelerate student learning by tailoring the instructional environment, what, when, how, and where students learn, to address the individual needs, skills, and interests of each student. Within a framework of established curriculum standards and high expectations, personalized learning motivates students to reach their goals. Students take ownership of their own learning and develop deep personal connections with each other, their teachers, and other adults. This is still from the LearnLaunch site. Technology is necessary to implement personalized learning effectively, affordably, and at significant scale. Teachers leverage technology to gain detailed and timely knowledge of their students that guides instruction. And I'm going to read that sentence again because it just really... Technology is necessary to implement personalized learning effectively, affordably, and at significant scale. And from the Department of Education's site, the Office of Digital Learning supports the catalyzation of K-12 education policy and practice to advance powerful, personalized, learner-centered experiences through competency-based, blended, and online learning. Working collaboratively collaboratively with the field and external partners, we broker funding, resources, and relationships to enable improved student and educator access to high-quality new learning models supported by technology that prepare them for student and school success. And as a committee, we've determined that we need to look at screen time as part of the overall health of our kids. Learn Launch, the DESE, and other EdTech industry members have determined that our kids need more screen time. Competency-based education is being piloted in a few districts in Massachusetts, yet here we have the DESE catalyzing this new learning model. This past weekend, the Massachusetts Teachers Association's Representative Assembly adopted a new business item of opposing this DESE Learn Launch partnership, and they say they oppose it on the grounds that it reflects a predetermined plan to impose a new, untested, personalized oversight system on the public schools. This initiative is privately controlled by Learn Launch, a nonprofit consortium of for-profit education technology ventures. And since this is still in the pilot year and is now being catalyzed by the DESE, I ask that personalized learning, competency-based education, the DESE Learn Launch partnership, and the decision to oppose it by the MTA be placed on the agenda. Thank you.
Okay. So now we have any other public comment? Student advisory report, and we don't have Theodora here.
She's not at the admin building.
Did we hear from Theodora?
I don't believe Sharon, I don't think
I
Theodora.
emailed her the agenda. She didn't say she wasn't coming.
Okay.
Maybe something came up.
Okay, so now I'm going to pass the gavel over to Nancy Taylor, and we are going to reorganize the school committee.
Okay, when there is an election, I think people know that we have the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary, and my position is to right now accept nominations for the position of school committee chair. Is it Walter?
Thank you. I just before I make my nomination, I just would like to state my, hopefully my credibility in making these judgments. I think, as some of you know, excuse me, I spent 3 years in the military training, evaluating military officers for the Combat Armed Group, had a career in corporate life training managers. So I think I know what it takes to run an organization, even a smaller one like this. And obviously the job Alan did was fantastic. He had management background and experience, did a great job in running this, and I think we need someone with actual management background and experience to accept that job and do the right thing. Because let's face it, you have to put an agenda together, you got to get input, you got to reach consensus, you got to reach a conclusion, then follow things through. And in my opinion, John Fernari, with his background as a manager and the fact that he's actually been a chairperson of many of the groups with the Chamber of Commerce, would have the background necessary to do a really good job in managing what we need to do. So that would be my my nomination to replace Alan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prati. Ms. Palmer?
I would like to nominate Kelly Welch as chair for our school committee.
Any other nominations for the chair for the school committee?
Could I don't want to nominate, is it proper to make a statement about things? I just think we should think about fine-tuning the agendas, and so I think we should think about someone who can help us keep to our time frame. That sounds kind of shallow, but we seem to be getting off, and maybe reorganize the times that we do it. Like, I feel bad for the these people who have to stay forever. So I know we've had public comment before at the end, and we moved it to the beginning, so maybe, and I'll put my money where my mouth is, and I'll do a task force to investigate the agenda and everything of that. But I just think our meetings in the last couple of years should have been getting shorter, and they've been getting longer. So I don't know, just the person that we elect, I hope, can be on board to maybe fine tune the length and of our meetings.
Any other
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? We ready for a vote? Walter?
John?
Bill?
John.
John?
I'll vote for myself.
Kelly? I'll vote for myself. Kelly?
Kelly?
Kelly? John?
So by a vote of 5 to 4, Kelly Welch takes the chair of the school committee.
Thanks. All right. Thank you. Oh, we have to actually move that? Oh, no.
It's gonna be a data.
I didn't know I had to actually move. We better get a clock, or Terry's gonna be upset if we run late.
Oh, now that's gonna be my
Thank
moniker.
you. So, I mean, I guess my first thought is how lucky we are to have two people that everybody thinks, for the most part, could fill this seat, and I think that's a testament to the quality of the people that sit at this table. Okay, so now we need to do nomination. Do you still do this part? Or do I do this?
I hand it right back.
Okay, lucky me. So we need to take nominations for vice chair. Are there? I'm sure there are nominations. Walter?
I'll nominate John for vice chair.
Any other nominations for vice chair?
Oh, I'd like to nominate Leah.
We don't need seconds, right?
I didn't do seconds now.
Okay, I didn't think so. Just making sure. Any other nominations for vice chair? So we'll close nominations. Roll call vote again. We'll start with Walter again.
John?
John. And John as well.
Leah. Leah. Let's go all the way. We go all the way down. John. Leah. Andrew. Terry.
Leah.
And I'll vote. I have to vote for Leah. So with a vote of, again, split, 5 to 4, Leah will continue as vice chair. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I hope that you will continue doing evaluation.
I will continue doing it.
For secretary, do we have any nominations for secretary? Leah?
I nominate Terry for secretary because she does such a fabulous job.
She's got that. She's got it down for sure. Any other nominations for secretary? So we'll close nominations. Technically, I suppose we should vote.
Yeah, maybe nobody will vote for me.
Walter?
Terry?
Terry. Terry.
Terry?
Terry.
Terry?
Terry.
Terry? Terry. Yay! Unanimous. Congratulations. Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much. So the next item after organization is to accept donation and supplies and equipment from the Cape Cod Aggregate to build a walking track at Morse Pond School. Is there any other information that we need about that?
This is going to be a combined effort, and Principal McLaughlin is here if you have any other specific questions. Cape Cod Aggregate is going to supply all the supplies for a quarter-mile track at the Morse Pond School, and the DPW will be working with them to install it this summer.
Oh, let's have our motion first. Is there a motion to
Yep.
accept the donation?
I motion we accept the donation from Cape Cod Aggregate.
Thanks, John. Second?
I'll second it.
Leah. Now discussion? Leah?
How big is the track going to be?
1/4 mile, excuse me,
A
1/4
quarter
mile. If you're familiar with that field, it'll basically encompass the field, not including the playground area.
Okay, that's great.
So from the basketball
Basketball court,
all the way up to the,
all the way up to the playground, and both far ends of the playground, so that the road coming in, and then the side by the nursing home.
so will the soccer play inside it?
On the inside, correct.
Any other discussion?
It's very generous of Cape Cod Aggregate.
It's
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
I think that Morse Pond was the last school that didn't have a half track, is that right?
Sure. I don't know if the
No,
other
is that not
elementaries.
true? Did I make that
Mr.
up?
Bushy shaking
Thank
his
you,
head.
Mr. Bushy.
All in favor of accepting the donation from Cape Cod Aggregate?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries, unanimous. Now we have a presentation from Mrs. Schmidt on the French exchange program. Thank you so much.
It's earlier than it was scheduled on the agenda, so I have some kids who may show up a little bit later.
Oh. You want to take it
Do
out
you
of
want
order
to
so they
skip
can have the
around?
students? Yeah, why don't, we can take it out of order, and then you can, because I would hate for your students to come all the way
Yeah.
over, and we would love to hear your presentation, but we really like hearing from the kids. So we'll jump
We'll
ahead.
give it a few minutes, and see if a few more show.
If that's, do we have our
We
elementary?
we don't have our elementary principals.
Oh, they're not here?
Yet.
Oh my
Can we
gosh.
start
So let's start our presentation since we don't have
Okay.
any of our, and then when our
There it
students
goes.
join, are we really that far ahead?
That's okay.
Yes, that is okay.
On the agenda, so I told
I
you
thought we
today,
had them
or you
down
would
there.
have been here.
See,
at
Terry,
4
your wish is already coming true.
I know,
You're
look at
already
this.
rolling.
See what
Moving
effect
right-
I had already?
So this is Emma Armstrong, who was one of my senior members of the exchange. And I put together some pictures that I had from things that we did while we were there. So this is the first day we had a tour of the Lycée Ampère. And this is their, it's sort of an auditorium. They do special presentations there. It was open just for us to see. They have incredible acoustics there. And then later on in the day, we did a tour of Lyon. And this is a trompe-l'œil. It was painted with all the famous people of Lyon. So the kids got to see some figures that they recognize and some others that they didn't. But the cool thing was that the building was entirely flat, but it didn't look like that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I didn't touch it.
Technical difficulties.
There we go. Did something at least. All right. Where is this? Just a second. Hey, all right.
Was there something special about the painting that said on the side something? Oh, there it's back.
Okay.
So this was from the guided visit, so.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Do you remember?
Yes, so this was our first day at the school. We flew in the first day, and then the following day we went with groups of our French exchange students around the building, and they showed us different places in the school. So this first picture right here is a view of their courtyard that they had just in the school. They had several different areas where you could look out the windows and see either parts of the city or parking lots or the courtyard. This looks like a view out of maybe the art room. They had 2 or 3 floors. And this is what you could see when you just looked out across the town. So that's the rest of the town of Lyon. We have a little bit of artwork that we saw. We had to climb up a spiral staircase in order to get to the art room, and this is what we saw on the way up. And I don't know what's in that other picture.
That was
I don't
some of their
remember
artwork.
Some
I
more of the
thought it was
artwork?
really
Okay.
unique. The school was a Jesuit compound initially, and so it's been repurposed as the Lycée Ampère, which is actually one of the most prestigious schools in Lyon. It has quite a reputation to go to. So these were our students throughout the tour, indoors and out. And this picture here is their library, and it was in the courtroom of the school. So the librarian sits where the judge would sit to watch over her library. So it was pretty impressive. There's another view of the
When
of
we
the-
looked out the
the
window there from the library, you could see the river running by, and then there were a bunch of people on bikes driving by as well. It didn't really look like you were in the middle of the city from that perspective.
So there's the oratoire again, and our students enjoying the view. Then we did another walking tour. Lyon is made up of two hills. There's La Colline qui Travaille, the working hill, and we saw that this is where the silk weavers were. And this area they call the beehive, La Ruche, with the traboules, when they made silk. Which I wore my silk scarf so you can see. That's okay. They discovered that if it were raining, the silk would not be worth anything. So they made these covered passageways so they could transport the silk and keep it dry if it happened to be raining. We didn't have any rain while we were in Lyon. It only rained one day in Paris. So, but this is that area, and it became really important. We learned a few days later at the Musée de la Résistance. The people from Lyon knew their way around the traboules that they could get from building to building without going, but the SS officers and the Nazi officers and the people that might be pursuing them did not. So there were quite a few uses to the different traboules for helping people escape during World War II. This is another view of the famous painted wall, and one of the books that we read in French 4 honors is The Petit Prince and Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who is pictured there with the Little Prince, was from Lyon. And next to it you see a puppet, Guignol, that is like the Punch and Judy puppet, is the symbol of Lyon. This is Vieux-Lyon. We toured that Thursday with the group. I think it was Thursday. And we had guided visits, and the kids learned an awful lot about the different architecture, the colors. The stones were of the time period. They've been cleaned and restored throughout. And just looking, they learned a lot about the sizes of the windows and the shapes when parts were added. Vieux-Lyon also had quite a few of the traboules, the covered passageways. And I saw some that I had never seen before, which was pretty cool for me. So down looking over a group, they had a lot of escaliers à vis that are like the turn screw stairwells. So I climbed up and looked down over the group to do a group shot.
And how many were there altogether? How many were there of you?
There were 14 Falmouth students. We had 5 from West Bridgewater that joined us as well as their teacher. So we were a group of 21 altogether. And everywhere we went, this was before Easter weekend, all of the windows had beautiful pastries and wonderful things. So the praliné, this pinkish pastry is very common to Lyon, with pecans that are crystallized with a pinkish sugar. So, had to do that. This was, Emma was there, Annecy. So you want to tell them about Annecy?
So it was incredibly beautiful. Just seeing the beginnings of the Alps, we were really very, very close to the Alps. I think everyone who went out on the lake, and I think I remember a bunch of people saying after we got back from France that this day might have been their favorite, besides the first day in Paris when we got to go up and see the Eiffel Tower, just because of how relaxing it was, how beautiful the whole place was. Everyone, all the people that we ran into were very, very nice, all of the French people. We only saw a couple of Americans while we were here, and most of them that we saw were from Annecy. Even though they tried to speak English with us. They kept trying to switch. Didn't let them.
Yeah, so they took pédalo, little paddle boats out on the lake. So, it's a flowered city. The lake is very famous. A lot of they have different sports around, and our French 2 textbook. The students are from Annecy, and so the kids got to see where Pierre and Armel and Jérôme did all of the crazy things that they did in our video series. But there are little canals through the old part of the city that is a medieval city, and it's quite picturesque. You can see how beautiful the flowers were, reminding you that this was in April, so they're usually about a month ahead of us in terms of their flowers. The Friday that we were in Lyon, the French teachers had the majority of their students excused from classes their last day before their vacation started. And we did a joint trip with them to this castle called the Château de Fléchère. It is a privately owned castle, and we had guided tours, and they broke us up and they put the Americans in one group and the French in another. And we weren't quite sure why, but what we learned later was that our tour guide was one of the owners of the castle. He simplified his tour, but we learned so much about what the different representations of art in the paintings were, what they symbolized and that kind of thing. And he never told us he was the owner. The guide in the French group told them that the man was the owner, and they told us. But, so it was very, very cool. I sent a picture to my husband and said, "Can I make a deposit on this?" Yeah. He said only if it's our same mortgage, so I'm safe here. And then we went to Pérouge in the afternoon, which is another medieval town that's surrounded by a wall. And there were students putting on, there we've got another one, putting on a little parade. This was Good Friday, so I'm sure it had something to do with that. And then the Galette de Pérouge is a sugar tart, and we were able to sit down with all of the students and enjoy that. And I heard that was one of the best things that they had to eat while we were there. Then the kids spent the weekend with the families. I went with teachers. We went to the Jura, which is another mountainous area just a little bit above the Alpes region, and had some really incredible cheese and food, and walked. I wear a Fitbit. Most days we were over 25,000 steps.
I think the most, I got an app on my phone, and I think the most I did was 30,000
Yeah.
at one point.
So we went to Paris.
Did you get from city to city by train or how?
We went to Annecy from Lyon. We took a regional train, and then to Paris we took the TGV. And it took us less time, I think, to get to Paris than it did to Annecy, just because the train goes so fast.
You know how fast it goes?
300 kilometers an hour is about 250 is but 300 I think is the record that it can go, but it doesn't go that fast all the time. So. Layla. This is Layla.
Oh, hi. So just like about Paris.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that the first day of Paris was probably my favorite part of the trip, favorite part of Paris at least. So we went to Montmartre as Madame Schmidt.
Second day, but that's okay.
Okay, oops, well, the second day. But I thought it was really interesting to look at. We saw a lot of different cathedrals, like back in Lyon, we saw a famous cathedral called Fourvière. And I thought it was really interesting to see the older architecture, and a lot of the buildings are still incredibly beautiful, and they've held up for so long. And I think it's really great that we get to see such historical buildings.
So there was our group at Montmartre. This was Paris by night. The first night that we were in Paris, we went. We had a reservation at 10 o'clock at night to go up the Eiffel Tower, and that was, I think, the coldest any of us had been when we were there. Paris, you never know from year to year. Paris can be the warmest part of the exchange or the coldest, and it was cold. I think, Nancy, you were there at the same time. But 10 o'clock at night, we weren't sure how long to say, well, let's stay up here for an hour. Everybody was ready to go. It was so cold. But as you can see, it was gorgeous. We were on the tower when it started to sparkle, and we were just below it at one point, so the kids were taking all sorts of pictures of that. So, and then the last full day, we went to the Musée Rodin.
I think this was probably my favorite museum that we visited, even maybe over the Louvre, just because walking through the garden, you could walk up, and it's statues, so you could see the expressions on these people, and you could see what Rodin was trying to convey with the shape of the people and how they were looking and what they were doing, what they were wearing. I thought that was really, really interesting to see.
I also really liked how, so if you think of Rodin, you probably think of the Thinker, which is his most famous sculpture, but there was a lot that I didn't know about him as a sculptor and an artist, and so I thought it was really great that I got to see more of his work and more behind what he did.
That's the last one. So ladies, would you like to tell them what else you learned while you were there?
Okay. Well, I think one of the most important things that I learned that you can't just really look at is the different perspectives that you get when you go to a different culture. Like you see how people interact with each other, how people act, and it's just not something you can really learn about in a textbook or in a classroom. Just being with the French exchange family, being outside of the youth hostel, away from other Americans, you get so much more immersion in the culture, and you learn so many different things habitually just being with them. We saw, additionally, we went and saw the Resistor. What was the name of the Resistor? Can't remember his name.
Monsieur Nailly.
Nailly. He was in the French Resistance in World War II, and he was speaking to us, and he was speaking very emotionally, but he wasn't trying to convey the emotion to us specifically. He was trying to convey the importance of being a resistor, of being just someone outspoken, someone willing to do something that you care about. And even nowadays, you don't really get that type of perspective from people, because there aren't as many people in our community that I see daily who have this type of information or who have this type of perspective.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Emma that having the exchange and living with the French families is a really unique experience that we got to have, because if you're a tourist staying in hotels, you really don't get the same authenticity that you get when you're staying with a French family. And I learned a lot about my French correspondent, and I learned that we're really similar despite having a language barrier, and despite, being from completely different countries, having different school environments, and that was part of what I really loved about the experience, was just getting to know my French family and getting to experience life how she would experience it, going to school with her, being in her classes. And so I think that's something that is a really unique experience.
Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much for taking the time to come and tell us about it, because it sounds absolutely spectacular and it was new. So, questions and comments?
Will you both continue to study French?
I intend to. I don't know what classes I have required for college. I'll be going to Beloit College in the fall, so I don't know what my requirements are, but I hope to, because I've been studying it now, I believe, for 6 years, and it's something that I know well, something that I don't think I want to give up just because I'm in a new environment. And that would be a great way to, get to meet other people, and I really would love to be able to travel back to France or to a different French-speaking country, because you get so much different information, different perspectives and values by being able to go different places and meet new people.
And speak to them.
And speak to them, yeah.
Emma's host family has said that they will pay half of her airfare if she wants to go back. They loved her. And my
I definitely would like to continue studying French. I actually have a lot of French-speaking family, and so I'd really hope to someday be able to like communicate with them fully and consider myself fluent in French. And so hopefully I'll get to study French in college and try to keep up with that.
Thank you.
And she's in AP next year.
Are the kids that you stayed with gonna come over here?
They
Oh,
were
they
here
did actually.
in October.
Those are the ones that were here.
They were the ones that were here in
I know
October.
that.
Yep. Yeah, but
Yeah, John?
Just a comment and a request that next time if you do make a presentation and you reference all of those pastries, maybe you could work with Warren on Main Street, and he could
bring
bring
a few
Samples.
to
That's
sample.
only fair,
Thank you.
because now we're just hungry. Any other thoughts?
Terry.
I'm sorry if I keep hogging it, but you know I have to.
Oh, I know.
When you were talking about the beautiful old buildings, one thing I noticed the last time I was in Europe was there was a lot of tagging. Do you see that a lot? Did you see a lot of that?
A lot of what? Sorry.
Like graffiti?
The
Graffiti.
tagging,
Oh.
yeah, the tagger.
There
yeah.
was a fair amount of it, at least at street level, but not a lot on the historic buildings.
Thank heavens they left those.
Yeah,
there.
they did. They
Yeah,
really did.
I think they definitely protect those a lot more heavily than.
Yeah.
There was a lot on like apartment buildings, but not anything else really.
And they had, well, they recently had their elections, and as we, oh, there's another one coming. As we were there, we would see the different posters. They would have all 11 candidates, and you could tell sort of who was the most, come on Amy, who was the most popular candidate, you know, by how much graffiti or damage was done on their posters and that kind of thing. And so we left on Friday, came home, and Sunday was the first round of their elections. So that was very interesting, and their results come almost immediately. And then on May 7th, they had the second round, and I, you know, had tuned in around 2 o'clock because I knew the polls closed around 8 there. And I had a message right away from Valérie, the history teacher that was part of our exchange, saying that Macron won and how happy they were for the change, and hopefully that, you know, he started his own party this past year, so hopefully he'll make a difference.
So I'm sorry that we were running early. And
They were running
only
early.
just
Sorry.
started. Would you like to share with us the most impactful or your favorite experience of the trip?
The most impactful.
Or something you liked the most?
I really loved being with the families. That was something that was just like so important, like to me throughout the trip. Like, I didn't really know what to expect going in. I can get anxious. I don't like things that are always, you know, unfamiliar. But I was just so reassured immediately by the family I was with. They were so nice to me. They showed me so much compassion. I just felt at home instantly, and it was this great connection, this great bond that just like was there, like across this like cultural difference, across like the sea. There was just like, there was like a home for me in France, and I really enjoyed that.
And Amy, you celebrated her birthday while we were there.
Yes, I had the same birthday as my French correspondent, so I was in France for it, and it was really great.
In addition to keeping in touch with the kids from France, is there any follow-up with the kids from West Bridgewater as well?
Have you guys been in touch with the kids from West Bridgewater? Oh, there are more coming.
We got to see like all their prom pictures on like social media and everything, so we keep in touch that way. They all looked great, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm in touch with their teacher to continue. We haven't heard yet, but we actually applied to do perhaps a presentation at a MAFLA conference this coming fall about our exchange and how we work things. Okay, ladies, you want to share any of your favorite experiences, what you've taken away from the exchange?
Sure. Hi, I'm Abby Turner. I'm a sophomore at Falmouth High. This was my 4th year taking French, and I went on this exchange, and honestly, it was one of the best experiences of my life. I mean, I had so much fun. My French exchange correspondent actually lived in a military kind of like bunker because her mom had a military status and worked for Interpol, which was really cool, but it was just kind of like an apartment building. And I mean, it was just a really interesting culture to experience, and I would recommend it to any of my friends. And a lot of them were jealous when they saw all my pictures, but it was really fun. I mean, not a lot of people can say that they got to go up the Eiffel Tower at our age, so.
I'm Bridget Bodwood. I'm also a sophomore, and I've been taking French for 4 years as well. One thing I really enjoyed about the trip was getting to experience a family that lived a little bit differently than mine. So the family I stayed with was Jewish, and I'm not Jewish, so it was interesting for me to see how they celebrate their culture and everything, and also to be able to live on my own for a little bit was fun, like with my friends and everything. I think that was something kids our age would really enjoy, so I hope the exchange continues as well.
Hi, my name is Kaylee Murray, and I'm a senior at Falmouth High. One of the most powerful things that I experienced over in France was when a French resistor survivor spoke to us about his experience, and it was just incredible to hear the story from someone who was through it. I mean, we've heard about it in the textbooks, and we've heard about it from passing down of generations, but it's a totally different feeling hearing it from someone who experienced it and went through it and has now lived to have a very fulfilling life and moved on. So that was a very special thing for us.
Kayla, anything you want to add? They were running ahead of schedule.
Oh, sorry, I just came back from practice. I had to rush here. Well, I think like one of the most like really crazy things that happened to me was I had a concussion that lasted for several months, 7 months actually, and I totally like forgot almost all of my French. I had to work with Madame Schmidt a lot, and I got cleared right before we went to France, and all of my French came back. Just being with the families all the time, only hearing French. Like, the only time I would hear English is if I would just ask, like, maybe if I didn't know something, but usually it's just like, it's like forced for you to speak French. Like, I'm sure if I went with my family, I would not get the same effect. Like, it was just all the time French, and especially like going to the school and being making friends with your correspondence friends and speaking French with them because their English is not that great either. It's just, it really worked well. So yeah, I think it was very, very educational.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come and tell us personally about it. It means a lot more to hear from you what you got out of it, for sure. Thank you for organizing.
Thank you for letting us do it.
Thank you, ladies. So hopefully we have our principals. Start with East. Thank you so much. That was great. Thank you. So we're going to move into the end of year school improvement plans, our update on how the progress has gone during the year. And as we talked about this year, we don't need to approve them. We are just, we're just hearing how everything has gone.
Keeping in mind that the school improvement plans came to you in the fall, and so what the principals will now present is their progress towards their goals that are outlined in the school improvement plan.
Well, who's here? Is everyone here? Oh, she's not here? Okay, so who
I
wants
think we
to
were
go?
starting with East.
Yeah, we'll
But
just
maybe
have
we'll
to jump ahead.
And I
So
think
next would
Mullen.
be Mullen. Mrs. Ashworth. You're on that. You're in the hot seat.
We're running early.
We're way early. Yeah.
Not way.
Not way. It feels way. I know. Nothing like having your first meeting be like a timed test to make sure we all make it to the dinner on time. I don't think it matters a whole lot because we don't have. Ryan, where would you like Ms. Ashworth?
I'll work around it.
Okay.
Unless they want to talk about the presentation, I don't know, do the slides go with what they're saying?
We're going to skip the slides ahead to Mullen Hall since Dr. Dale isn't here yet.
We're all set. Whenever you're ready.
We changed
Nice
the order
sitting.
only because
I just don't know where I'm supposed to be, so am I,
wherever you
I
want.
have to sit and face that? Okay.
If you need to. Thank you.
All right.
Wow.
So you can see we had 3 goals at Mullen Hall. The first one was our collaborative teams would monitor and take responsibility for student achievement. So we collected this data the first week of May, and I look forward to providing you with additional detail because we did pay close attention to our subgroups as well. And I want to be sure to report out not only this full number, but also take a closer look at subgroups. So of the 166 students receiving targeted instruction in grades K to 4, 80.8% have met their goals. And goals included a range of topics: reading, writing, behavioral goals, as you can see here. So of the 166 receiving targeted support, 122 of those were designated high needs. Goal number 2. The Mullen Hall School will reduce the number of students with more than 10 absences by 10%, and the number of students with more than 10% absences by 4%. I'm really excited about this. I could talk to you about this all night. This piece of paper gives you, on one side, Goal 2 information about how we did it. We were up at 38.8% of students missing more than 10 days. We're down to 13%. That's a 25% drop. Now, our numbers since I took this data on May 11th, I think is when we kind of shut it down to get this report to you, have changed. So we might chink up a little bit, but it's remarkable what has happened at school. Everything from attendance groups to proactive family meetings to really positive messaging with students, walking into classrooms and just saying, raise your hand if you're here. Everybody can raise their hand. Saying to kids when they leave, please come back tomorrow. At the bottom of my intervention activity list, it just says 1,000 small, purposeful interactions. So I look forward to talking about this more with you. Quite frankly, this list just doesn't do it. And I'm thrilled about our attendance rates. We had 31 perfect attendance, students with perfect attendance in March. And so we sent home little postcards. Rose Moran did that. And in the past, we had 3 or 4 with perfect attendance. We didn't shoot for perfect attendance because we didn't want kids coming to school sick. So that was just kind of a byproduct of all our 1,000 little interventions. So, and again, I want to thank and recognize Rose Moran and Anne Marie Iandoli, who are here tonight as well, for their work. And finally, engage in events that strengthen partnerships practices to strengthen educational practices for kids. We continue to maintain excellent relationships with parents and community, and many new relationships and grants were secured to enhance play spaces at Mullen Hall. The basketball court was about an $18,000 grant. The track, if I had to estimate, would be around $8,000 or $9,000. And a garden grant has been proposed, and that would be another $5,000. Again, the list here, community connections, these are the people we're connecting with to make education engaged, challenging, and I think this contributes to attendance. So I have them on the same sheet. One of the ideas for improving attendance was our early release days. Those were days of low attendance, and so we developed those into STEAM-based learning activities after meeting with STEM boosters, and that had a positive impact. So these two kind of dance together to help with our goals. Any questions?
Questions or comments for Nancy? Thank you.
I have a comment.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you.
Just as a parent of a Mullen Hall student, I just want to thank you for your exceptional job. Not only you know, it's not just the teachers, it's everybody, the whole community within Mountain Hall is part of the solution there. And I want to give a particular shout out to Cece, the custodian, who not only does he know my daughter's name, and she knows his name back and forth, and it's really, that says a lot about your organization and you, so thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Thank you very much. That's very impressive.
Thank you.
That's some great progress. Thanks for coming. Amazing. That's a high bar. Okay, so let's go backwards. Dr. Dale, if you don't mind, we're going to go backwards and hear from you. We took you out of order, sorry.
That's okay. I got over here as fast as I could. Kindergarten open
We were
house.
running a little early.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Take a deep breath here. Goal 1 for East Falmouth School was to invest in all students through close monitoring of their academic and social progress. And I have this one split up into 2 slides. First, I wanted to take a look at what we're doing for social progress for our students. We started the year with an opening staff meeting to really take a look at the kids who were in front of us and took a look at who was at high risk. And then, most recently in April, we took another look at those same students and said, what have we learned about them this year? And we took a look at adverse childhood experiences, and we went through and tallied up the number of adverse childhood experiences each of the children before us had. And that information is going to be then communicated to next year's teacher. So we don't want to lose what we've learned about these children. So that was something new this year, and we're doing our placement with that in mind to make sure we don't load up one teacher with many children with adverse childhood experiences. There's a lot to go around, but we want to make sure we have the right kind of supports in place. For attendance, we started a new program called the Challenge 5, and as of May 1st, we had 37% of our students missing less than 5 days. The Challenge 5 is going to reward children who have 5 or less days absent in the school year, rather than just the perfect attendance award. And what we've learned so far this year is that it's working, because we have right now 101 students that have missed less than 5 days, which is an improvement from last year. But next year we're going to split that up to quarters rather than for the whole year. We are continuing the grandparent support group, and we started this year the Nurturing Fathers group through the Cape Cod Neighborhood Support with Beverly Costa, and we're really reaching out to fathers who are raising children on their own, and also to grandparents. So both of those things, programs are held at the East Falmouth School. This year we had school-based therapist in the building, and she has a current caseload of 28 students. She started with 0 and has 28 now. Calmer Choice program was brought into 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, which has been quite successful with our students and helping them manage their anxiety and emotions. We did begin the Grab and Go breakfast program, currently serving anywhere between 20 and 30 students daily. We developed a motor room in the building now, which is a room entirely made up of stations for children to decompress, to deal with their need for movement, and give them opportunities for heavy workstations. So that's brand new to the building, available to all students. We just had a staff meeting where Michelle Duguay-Martinez, one of our occupational therapists, and Sue Lund both presented to the staff on how they can use the motor room for all students. And it's quite organized, and I was really thankful that the district helped support setting that up in our building. And then we also did the All Kids in the Snow, which is, we want to get all the children in the snow for recess and have nobody standing on the pavement. So we made sure every student had winter boots and snow pants this year. So that was a great community support and outreach. For the academic progress, we did institute the leveled literacy intervention, and that is for kindergarten through grade 4. And our interventionists have become more skilled in employing that intervention program. We'll do more next year with that. Continued our grade level data meetings where our grade level leaders are meeting with Zach Whitaker and bringing that district message back to the school. I think it's one of the best things that Falmouth Public Schools has done in helping bring unity with the message to all teachers. We had a Title I Literacy Night this year. We offered food, and we did have a better turnout, so we're learning as we go with getting more parent involvement. We had a professional development track this year, as you've heard, through the district, and I think that's been quite beneficial for increasing the knowledge base of our teachers with some of the academic ways that they can monitor students. We restructured the Connect program. We added a teacher and split up to primary and intermediate for the number of students, so we had a Connect program. That's been very successful. And finally, we've done a number of service learning projects you might have seen in the newspaper that, again, just add to the academic learning of all students. The Penny Wars, the Water Bottle Drive, and recently student-driven idea with Girl Scouts getting clothes donated to the school. So I'm trying to go as quickly as I can. Goal two, to enrich high-achieving students through a differentiated support system. The track that I talked about with the professional development track that we did this year was fabulous, and the track for the enriching the motivated and talented students, that professional development is going to be rolled out to every single teacher so that every single teacher can then address the students that are achieving at higher levels. The project, professional development for RISE, that's helping teachers learn how to co-teach with the special educators. That just about every teacher now has received that. Next year we'll be finishing up with a few that have not yet received that. And then there was a professional development for differentiation, which I took part in, and that too was very successful in helping teachers just know how to differentiate within their classrooms to meet the needs of all students. East Falmouth Elementary School is very proud to have the computer science STEM team that is working at the state level, and this year is the second year of a 3-year project for them where they instituted their model curriculum unit, which was the Build It, Fix It engineering project. You might have seen the culminating activity at the science fair that they participated in. We continue to use Khan Academy as a supplement to the Math and Focus curriculum to really backfill the needs of our students with regards to basic mathematics. And we continue to work with a number of things that are listed: the science instruction, junior achievement, the CAST, and building on the makerspace in the school library, which is an engineering piece. And that is also a part of our enrichment program. I did the school improvement progress with the school council and also with the teachers at the staff meeting, and it was apparent that everybody wanted to make sure that I did not miss one of the enrichment classes, so I listed them all there for you. Our PTO supports our enrichment program, and every year it's just growing by leaps and bounds. The building is open every morning with enrichment and ends every day with enrichment. So we have great reasons to be happy at East Falmouth. We're reaching out to the children that are not taking advantage of it. We're calling families, asking them if they need scholarship money, if they have transportation issues, or helping with transportation. We're reaching out to the Kids Club, making sure the children that are in Kids Club in the morning are taking part in it. So the enrichment is really something that's growing every single year. I assisted with the committee for Kids Club and looking at what the Kids Club current issues and concerns might be, and how the YMCA might be able to support our initiatives and our children. Wanted to reach out to students who weren't participating in some district initiatives, such as the VIPS track meet and the science fair and the craft fair, and really did some extra things to get some children involved that weren't involved previously. And we had a number of FEF grants that were awarded this year, and then we have our showcase, or the project this Thursday that we'll be hearing more about those. And then we did the Weather Day STEM Day activity I did a few years ago for grades 3 and 4 students this year. Finally, the last goal, to support and encourage new teachers, along with others, to embrace the district's mission and school goals, to look at each and every student as an individual and to invest in them as a whole child. You just click to the next slide, I think. Okay, thanks. So by default, the grade 3 teachers were co-teaching. So they were, we had the T-ticket students with us, as you know, so grade 3 automatically had to co-teach because we doubled up our 3rd grade classrooms. We ended up having a veteran 3rd grade teacher with a new 3rd grade teacher in 2 sections, so 4 sections became 2, and that was fabulous. The new teachers learned from the veteran teachers, and the veteran teachers actually learned from the newer teachers, so that happened by default, and it was fabulous. My Special Education Building Administrator Julie Phelan has done some professional development in the building for the teaching assistants, which I think is a wonderful way to reach out and support staff. Again, the grade level leaders are there. Many teachers have received their SEI endorsements, and we had many teachers get CPR certifications on their own. We had the East Falmouth Elementary School curling team, which was representing Falmouth Public Schools, supporting the service center in a curling tournament. We had some new teachers on that. It was a great way to bring in professional culture and fun at the same time. And then the grants that we received this year, you'll be hearing more about those on Thursday. Fabulous grants. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
Just curious about the grandparents support group, what the turnout was for that, if you had people showing
Well,
up for that.
with the grandparent support group, they gave childcare and they gave dinner. So it started with just a few, and it went up to about 8 parents, but every year, every week would be different. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
Okay, thank you. Okay, you can go.
Over to North Falmouth. Thank you.
Hi, thanks.
Hi.
Thanks for closing the door, Tim. Goal number 1. So the first goal I have at North Falmouth this year, and it's going to continue into next year, is trying to establish some alignment to our curriculum and create a document that really captures what we're doing in instruction month by month in each grade level. So what I handed out was one piece of what the end product will in some form look like. So that's October of grade 4, just so you understand like what we're trying to get for every grade level for every month. So it's just an attempt to really capture all the instruction that's happening, provide some organization to it, and really it gives us a place where all the good best practice can live, and where the administrative team can work with teachers to make decisions to affect change in our instruction. So if we see things that maybe aren't working so well, we can come to a place of agreement what we are going to shift, and it actually exists somewhere so that those changes are documented. So the end form will look something similar to what you have here. At present, what I've collected is kind of the list of topics and assessments. It's not quite in finished form yet, but that's just an example of what it will look like. And it just gives us, like I said, a place to work collectively and so that we're on the same page for curriculum. Our second goal was looking to increase the growth trend of high needs students on both the ELA and Math MCAS exams, and we'll be curious and waiting to see what those scores will look like when we have the data available. But some of what we've put in place this year to help drive that improvement, we have a full implementation this year of a common planning time period for our teachers that's thanks in part to the district helping to support an increase in arts and music in the schools, that we're able to offer some more planning time for our teachers to come together as a team with special education teachers and teacher assistants all in the same room to work on planning. And that's offered once a week in addition to the 5 preparatory periods they have already. The curriculum alignment work ties into this as well, and that work's underway. And it's just, I think, shifting the culture, too, of what common planning time is. So working with staff to really provide an instructional focus for this time that we're working on and talking about our instructional practice together. We're also working on implementing, it's not a bullet point up there, but fully embracing next year. We've taken some steps this year, but really embracing it next year of the co-teaching model. So working with special education and gen ed to really combine and provide most of our instruction within the classroom and provide a rich experience for all of our kids. Classroom observations this year have targeted differentiated practices, and through support from the district, we've had a number of consultants come around to help work with administration to really fine-tune what it is we're looking for when we look in classrooms to see what practices are working well and what we need to refine. That's been very valuable. We've made a concerted effort to increase our use of small group instruction in classrooms to really target the individual needs of students, looking at it from a skill-based perspective. So you see, if you were to come into a classroom, probably a decrease in the amount of time on a whole group lesson. That still exists, but then you're quickly transitioning into small group instruction where teachers are able to have small groups of students in front of them and do some meaningful targeted work while other students in the classroom are engaged in independent activities to increase their skill. Just really being thoughtful about how we implement that. One teacher at each grade level in grades 1 through 4 has been trained to deliver differentiated instruction to our accelerated learners, and we're looking to expand that training to another cohort of teachers next year. They've been able to share the materials and some of the strategies they've talked about as a professional development group with their grade level colleagues, however, so that that information and those materials have spread already to the entire grade level. So, for instance, one thing they've implemented is choice menus for students who finish an assignment or they're working through the unit faster than perhaps their peers. They've got project-based learning assignments they can move on to and that they can work at their own pace, and they're really rich activities to dive into. IST this year, we've worked with district to kind of implement a whole model, and all of what we've done this year has been put into the district's database. We've had a lot more, I think, this year, a greater number of follow-up meetings with teachers to see how effective some of the interventions have been. We've met more often to say we've put these things in place for a child to help drive their improvement. How's it going? And not waiting 6 to 8 months out, or 6 to 8 weeks rather, but sometimes looking even as quickly as 4 weeks. Do we need to change something? Not waiting before it's too late, really. Goal 3. Our third goal this year targeted, I think, common to most of our schools, looking at our absentee rate. So last year, 69 students were absent 10 or more days from school. So we're looking to see what the final data will be this year. But it looks promising. So we monitor attendance every week. On Thursday mornings, we have a front office team meeting. So myself, the assistant principal, the school nurse, our school adjustment counselor, we look at the attendance data for that particular day, but for that week, and look at trends and any cases we need to be concerned about. And I think this year the change you'll see from prior years is that the parent outreach piece is happening earlier and more often. So calling parents, scheduling meetings, and really just trying to find out what it is that's causing an issue with coming to school. We've also been able to have, I think, wider meetings that if it involves caseworkers, if the student has wraparound services at home, having those providers come in and meet with the school staff as well so that we're all on the same page. Those meetings have been very productive. Looking at our attendance so far this year, we have had 3 out of our 8 months that I've been able to collect, we've seen like an increase from the year before. Some other months it looks about the same, and some months is a slight dip. So we're just going to look at our health clinic data and really kind of pull apart why that happened if there was a decrease. I know we've had an increase in stomach virus this year. It's been a tougher year for health. So I think some of what we've tried to implement to increase overall attendance might not show the effects that we would hope, but really looking at those cases that we have chronic absenteeism, I think it certainly will. We've done some other things similar to East. We have a motor room that's been established that's a dedicated area for students to take motor breaks during the day. That can be used by service providers, occupational therapy, physical therapy. Calmer Choice has been implemented at 2nd through 4th grade this year, and that's really helping with students with anxiety, and that might be an underlying cause why they don't come to school. So really having a concrete plan in place and a curriculum in place to help support them. Our enrichment programs continue both before and after school, so again finding other things we can implement in the school that enrich the curriculum that might give students a real reason to come to school, that they want to come today because today's yoga after school, whatever it might be. But just really to tap into their personal interests. I did start instituting this year, sending a quick note home for perfect attendance at the marking periods that comes from myself, just looking at what students have achieved that. And again, not wanting students to come to school sick, but it's neat to celebrate those who've really made the effort to come and have perfect attendance. We've increased the amount of supervision out in the front of the school in the mornings just to make personal connections with kids as they arrive, and really, being cheerleaders for those kids who have had difficulty coming to school, just to make a personal connection in the morning with them and acknowledge, hey, you're here. And that seems to, I don't have a number on that, but I can see the difference as they come in through the hall, they're smiling and they're here more often. And then our 4th goal, Tim? The 4th goal is centered on school safety. So we reestablished a standing safety committee at the school. We've met 6 times. We'll have our final meeting this week. And it's actually, the representation was excellent. We have members of our custodial staff, cafeteria staff, teacher assistants, teachers, district staff are involved, and we've been able to identify a number of areas that could be improved around the school centered on safety. And now we have a process with meeting notes and such where we can document what's been done, what projects are coming up, and keep things moving forward. So some of the projects that we've been able to complete successfully to date, and some of them are just simple things, but they can make a big difference. And I really credit our school liaison police officers for being a big resource for this, where they were able to identify some helpful things that we could do that might really aid school safety. So we added the classroom numbers to the exterior windows, so kind of a funny numbering system that schools have where the exterior doors are numbered differently than the interior doors, and that's for the fire department. But if a police officer ever needed to find a particular classroom from the outside of the building, they can't identify it by the number that's on that door. So now there's a number on the window that will tell them what classroom it is. We worked with DPW extensively this year, coming up with a short-term and then a long-term paving process that will improve our parking lot situation. So right now there is like a temporary amount of fill there that keeps it from being a safety hazard, but eventually it will be paved this summer, that folks are really excited about. And we're going to continue to identify areas that we can improve on. There'll be a standing committee again for next year. That's mine.
Thank you.
And that's all.
Questions or comments?
Yeah.
I really appreciate your focus on curriculum and instruction. So in this, trying to kind of compile the topics, the activities, and the assessments, I think that's going to be really helpful. Have you been getting good feedback from teachers?
Yeah, I think it's been a nice process where you have a common ground when you have discussions, and I think it keeps the discussions focused on instruction, which is really our primary job.
Is this rooted from the teachers or the teachers?
It was identified as a need last year as we talked, like what don't we have that we would need to improve even further? And it was, we don't have a document that tells somebody where you go. Everybody sort of knows, and it's sort of like a passed down oral tradition between teachers, but when you need to replace staff, what do you hand somebody who's brand new in your building to continue the work that was done prior to them without a tremendous amount of drop off? So you need some sort of an alignment document. So that's really where it came from, that they're getting nervous of what happens when I go, or we bring somebody new in. That'll accelerate the process for making them effective.
That's great, because I hear that daily with new teachers as to where is the curriculum, what am I doing? You know, and this is a really nice way to give something concrete.
I don't think it would be to such a level of detail that it would tell you what to do on Monday, page one, but it's a good guide to give you a general feeling of where to go throughout the year.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much. T-ticket. Last but not least.
So, with our rocky start to our year and having been displaced, I think that our school improvement progress will show you that we rallied and really came together. So in our first goal, it was to improve the attendance of our students, and we continue to monitor our student attendance, making our phone calls and outreach to our parents and guardians of our students. We continue to have our meetings. We call them our GAB meetings, but that really stands for guidance and administrative briefings. We send our letters home, and we involve other agencies when other efforts fail. So I'm pleased to say that when we wrote this, it was 4 out of 7 of the months had increased attendance, but now it's 5 out of 8. At the time that this was written, we were down by 0.3 overall, but now we're slightly up. So we're hoping that as the year ends, we stay at an increased percentage. So that will remain to be seen. We have worked diligently with other district departments to ensure that our students have the resources they need, such as transportation. So we've worked with Greg Kennedy to ensure that our students can get to school, because we've identified that occasionally our students are placed in other locations because they may not have permanent home situations. So Greg has worked very closely with us to ensure that in those situations, our students are able to be transported to school from wherever they may have to stay. So we've been able to increase our attendance in that way. Our second goal is to implement and sustain a collaborative and accountable culture of using data to improve instructional practices and decision-making that results in improved student success through the effective use of the instructional support team and response to intervention. So this was a goal that we started last year with our instructional support team, where our teachers progress monitor our students using multiple data sources, as you can see listed here. And I don't think I need to read them all to you. Our teachers meet in teams to discuss their concerns and interventions first. So that's their primary go-to. And then they continue to progress monitor.
And one of the things that we did this year, it's listed at the bottom, is we realized that our teachers didn't have the resource manual, which is this pre-referral manual, at each grade level. So they'd come to us kind of at a loss. And providing each of our teams with this pre-referral manual was a great resource because they could go to it with whatever concern they had of their students and say, oh, well, let me try that, or as a group talk about what was in this manual, and they could try that first. And very often we were told that this was a helpful resource for them. If they noticed that their students were still having difficulty, then they filled out the forms and they made a referral to the IST team. And this year we had 21 referrals, which was down from last year. We had, from that team, 6 referrals for special education, and then actual IEPs were developed for those students. We did have professional development through the district, and we had co-teaching professional development, supporting and challenging our academically accelerated learners. We had guided reading, differentiated instruction, and universal design for learning. And then at T-Ticket, I started a book club, and it was called Our Kids. And then we also had the SEI course. And our third goal was create, communicate, build, and design, build and align existing and new community partnerships with an emphasis on aligning such partnerships within the curriculum. And here you can see a list of our partnerships. And our new one is the Woods Hole, and grade 3 is exploring to replace our Cape Cod Canal because it aligns better to Woods Hole. It doesn't mean we want to get rid of our partnership with the canal, but we want to explore a new one with Woods Hole. I think I was under my 10 minutes.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Questions or comments about E-ticket? Nothing. So you were short, but evidently very thorough.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on quickly so that we can actually make it to the dinner on time. Routine business, the minutes. Everyone has the orange, or whatever color this is, salmon sheet with the minutes from our last meeting. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
To approve the May 9th school committee minutes.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Abstain. Oh, thank you. Andrea's abstaining. And me, I guess, right? You don't have to.
Okay.
You're welcome to, but you don't have to. Would you like to?
No, thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Next is our superintendent's report.
Okay, just quickly, I want to call out a couple things. On May 15th, Morse Pond School did a drug prevention program that was very successful with a panel. The panel was chaired by Walter Crotty. It went really well. And I just want to call out, there was a 6th grade student who actually got up and spoke about how she's been impacted. That was really incredible.
She did an outstanding job.
It was, to be in 6th grade and be able to do that is incredible. May 18th, Patrick, Greg Kennedy, Joanne Sykes, and Pat Dietland and I attended Beyond Sandy Hook at the Seacrest, and that was very informative, and we brought that back and we met with our own safety team, and it was very helpful. Just a reminder, Falmouth Flag Day, please look at that date, June 11th, and also take the time to go through the FEF awards totaling $106,829. That's really impressive, so please be sure to take a look at that. Thank you.
Thanks. Directors. Any, Zach, is there anything that you would like to highlight from your briefing?
No, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Zach? That's quick, thank you. Charlie? Would you like to
I'm sorry, you just have an update on our coordinated program review.
Any questions for Charlie on the coordinated program review or anything else? Awesome. Cindy, anything you'd like to? Where's
Cindy is
she's not here.
She is not with us tonight.
Would you like to highlight anything on behalf of Cindy? Nope. All right, we'll save our questions. Patrick?
Nope, nothing. If for new members,
those big folders if you want to go through those. I'm willing to help.
Thank you. Questions for Patrick? Great. Report from the chair. Well, I don't really have one. Oh, did I? Oh, you know, because I don't have yours. I'm sorry, Sonia, because I picked my packet up early. Oh. I'm sorry. Sonia, is there anything you'd like to highlight?
No, thank you. I'd just be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Sonia? You could have scooted right by. You wouldn't even have had to say anything. Sorry about that. I picked my packet up before your report made it in. I'll read it later. So in terms of things coming up, I'm sure we'll get some information about graduation because that is before our next meeting, is it not? Our next
Yes.
meeting is not until
The 13th. It is June 3rd, and Sonia's been working with the high school. I don't know if there's anything she wants to add to the high school graduation.
I can work with Mary Gans to get information out regarding the honor guard. So I can try to coordinate with her before the end of the week to get information to you via email.
Great. Yeah, we haven't gotten information about how to reserve our tickets so we can attend
Okay.
or anything like that, or when the rehearsal is or anything like that. So that would be great. You'll also get, I'm assuming probably in the next week, information about the subcommittees, so everyone can send their requests for subcommittee assignments, and that'll come by email.
And if you would send those requests to Sharon.
To Sharon.
She will create the document.
So we need to send it out first though.
Right.
Yeah.
So they'll know
Okay.
what it is.
So they'll know, and then
Mhm.
send it back in. Any other report? Pardon me?
Protocol.
Our protocols to review them?
Yes.
Okay, so in the packet that was at your seat, there's an envelope or a manila folder with all kinds of lovely things in it. Code of ethics, open meeting guide, open meeting law, a calendar. Thank you, Sharon, for being amazing. And the top piece, at least in mine, is the Falmouth School Committee and Superintendent operating protocols, which is a statement about how we have chosen to operate. We actually designed these ourselves a couple of years ago and chose things that we thought were important to be able to operate well together. If you can read them and send any questions or concerns you have to me, I guess. And hopefully we could actually talk about them on the next agenda, and then we'll sign them. Every member and the superintendent signs them. I think that's it. Is there any other committee reports?
Yes, for the field committee, I'd just like to put on a future agenda. We approved the field design. I just wanted to get that on for a discussion in the future agenda.
For an agenda item. Thanks, John. Leah.
Our retreats, so for new school committee members, we try to come together every summer for a few hours and just kind of think about how we've been doing as a school committee and then moving us forward. And our date for that is August 22nd from 1 to 5.
Location to be determined.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
I would just like to, I know that in our packet, the Falmouth Flag Day 5K to benefit the FEF was a run coming up. I would like to also highlight there's a June jog that benefits the East Falmouth Elementary School. It's a 4-mile fun run or a 10K, and that's on 6/4. It's a Sunday. It's super fun. It benefits East Falmouth Elementary School. And there's also a fun run for kids afterwards. So, for everyone who likes to run.
Or should. Any other committee updates? Any requests for follow-up information? You have one?
With the coordinated program review, you guys you're going through it right now. Is that right? You just
The reflection.
Okay, for next year's
Correct.
coordinated program
Yeah.
review. So just, and this is way down the line, just being informed about what those corrective action plans are and what areas the
Mhm.
district needs to work on would be great.
And that we won't get that until
Right.
next summer.
Spring, maybe. Right.
Yeah. So you're going to have to remind us again.
Well, yeah. I'm just putting it out there.
It's
Really
a long
important
way
information
down.
and how we move forward. So yes.
Any other requests for Terry?
Oh, no, I just had a report.
Oh, report, sorry. go for it.
Okay, no, I just wanted to say that I did go to the memorial service on Friday, and it's beautiful itself typically. And this year, the repertory swingers were the best I've ever heard, don't you think?
They were
And they were, I mean, phenomenally amazing. So, and the garden itself now has lights. I don't remember who had, well, you know, got those lights put in there, but it's really beautiful. So it was another beautiful year for another beautiful service.
Thank you. Any other reports? Bill?
Not a report, but just a comment, a quick reflection on the school improvement plans. One of the ongoing concerns was attendance, and I think the elementary people really put great emphasis on it and are really doing positively in that. And I know Tim's going to looking at some new concerns with attendance that I think he'll bring to us in the next few weeks, I think. But I really enjoyed hearing a lot of educational concepts, but I also really enjoyed the fact that more kids are coming to school. And if learning's going to take place, it's obvious that get your fanny in the seat.
Gotta be there.
We'll teach. So I think that's an attaboy to all the people, especially the elementary principals and everybody involved with this. A lot of steps forward, and it's a great job. Thank you.
And I think you heard themes: attendance,
Yep.
availability
Yep.
to learn, differentiated
Differentiated
instruction
I
for
wrote a ton
all
of things down. Yep.
ability levels. You heard restructuring of the instructional support teams,
Yep.
building-based, calmer choice and regulation that we really have to take a look at, and again, connecting with the community. And I think you heard those themes throughout all
Yes.
4 elementary
Yes.
schools.
It was really well
It
done.
was really great. It's very nice to hear our progress over the year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it feels, I don't know, it just feels right. It feels like closure as the year wraps up to know where we're at. Anything else? I don't know how we adjourn. How do we adjourn? Terry. That's right. Terry, do your
I'd
thing.
like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second that. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Thanks.